In China, under the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party, incidents of ground collapse and building collapses are frequently reported, with shoddy construction work being a common occurrence. In Yongjia, a residential building undergoing renovation suddenly collapsed, resulting in the tragic death of 4 maintenance workers. In another incident, a factory building collapsed under the weight of heavy snowfall, causing onlookers to quickly scatter to safety. A sudden building collapse in Hubei's Suixian shocked bystanders. At the beginning of the year, a restaurant in Xishuangbanna experienced a sudden ground collapse, causing several diners to fall into a pond, resulting in significant impact. On June 22nd, a sidewalk in Guanggan, Sichuan collapsed, drawing a crowd of onlookers. An elderly bystander fell into the pit while standing in the hazardous area. On July 30th, ground collapses occurred in both Beijing and Hubei due to heavy rain, raising concerns about the quality of ground engineering. Recently, ground collapse incidents have been reported in various locations across China, extending beyond urban roads and highways to crowded areas like shopping malls. On the afternoon of November 19th, a newly opened department store in Jiyuan City, Henan, experienced an internal ground collapse, resulting in a hole over 1 meter deep. A circulating video showed the collapse occurring in a less noticeable area beneath the store's shelving. The collapse was sudden, occurring just seconds after customers were seen moving around the shopping area. The aftermath showed injured customers, fallen shelves, merchandise, and a large amount of broken tiles in the hole, including what appeared to be an entrance to a hidden channel. The store, located on Xuanhua Street in Jiyuan City, Henan, was busy with customers and staff during the incident. A loud noise was followed by severe ground vibrations, causing panic and chaos as people fled. Some fell due to the collapse, and 2 individuals fell into the cavity. These 2 victims sustained minor injuries and were not in life-threatening condition. A witness revealed that the store, branded as a 2 yuan shop, had only opened on November 18th, with grand opening banners still on display when the collapse occurred. Typically, before constructing a building, geological surveys are conducted to identify underground cavities and plan for foundation treatments. However, the video of the incident showed brick walls on either side of the hole and an arch-shaped entrance to an underground channel, indicating an existing underground void. The store was built directly over this void without proper foundation treatment, using only prefabricated panels and tiles. The thinness and inadequate quality of the panels, evident from the video, suggest poor load-bearing capacity, leading to the collapse under the combined weight of people and goods. Prefabricated panels, although convenient and used in construction, have widespread usage and quality issues in China. When installed on walls or cast-in-place frameworks, they can withstand vertical loads, even small punch presses. However, their horizontal load-bearing capacity is significantly weaker. Moreover, critical weight-bearing areas should not use prefabricated panels. The shattered panels from the accident site were visibly thinner and of lower quality. Since the incident, the site has been sealed off and the store temporarily closed. The local Housing and Urban-Rural Development Bureau is investigating the cause. The incident has raised numerous concerns and criticisms online, with questions about the oversight of such safety hazards during construction and whether such conditions are suitable for high-traffic commercial spaces and supermarkets. Some Chinese media noted that underground channels used for rainwater or sewage drainage pose risks when buildings are constructed over them. First, these include inadequate load-bearing capacity leading to ground subsidence or collapse. Second is the difficulty in maintaining and repairing these channels, which can cause flooding or pollution. While building over these channels can be feasible with proper precautions and quality construction, incidents like this indicate compromised building standards and possible negligence in the case of the construction of the shopping center. Despite causing no significant casualties, the collapse of the ground in a newly opened supermarket located within a busy department store in China is considered a major safety incident. The collapse happening in a facility presumed to be at its safest and most robust stage due to recent safety inspections and no aging-related issues has sparked widespread concern. The incident suggests oversight and issue in construction and safety checks by local authorities. However, the Jiyuan Urban and Rural Integration Demonstration Zone Housing and Construction Bureau initially attributed the collapse to aging building facilities. This incident has reignited discussions about shoddy construction practices in China, with many netizens labeling it another case of tofu-dreg construction. On the same day, November 19th, another collapse occurred in Nanfeng County, Fuzhou City, in Jiangxi Province. The incident raised questions about the frequency of such accidents, with 2 collapses happening in a single day. According to local reports, the building in Nanfeng County had been identified as hazardous last year. The building is currently undergoing reinforcement construction. However, during the maintenance works, the building collapsed. Official statements claimed no casualties, as the building had been evacuated following safety hazard identification 2 years prior. However, eyewitness accounts of screaming, crying, and huge distress at the scene cast doubt on the official narrative because there would have been maintenance workers on site during the collapse. Online discussions have also questioned the decision to reinforce rather than demolish a building deemed unfit to live in, highlighting the potential danger had the building been inhabited post-repair. Apart from the incidents mentioned, a whole series of building collapses throughout November in China has sparked public concern about construction safety in the country. This included the November 6th collapse of a sports hall in Jiyuan City, Heilongjiang, resulting in 3 deaths and 1 injury. On November 22nd, a workers' dormitory in Ganjiang District, Jiangxi, partially collapsed. On November 19th, a building collapsed in Fuzhou of Jiangxi Province. The building was revealed to have a 30-year history, raising questions about underlying structural issues. Sources indicate that poor quality prefabricated panels used during construction were a significant factor in the building's failure. A few days prior, on November 11th, a 4-story residential building in Yongzhou County, Zhujiang, collapsed during renovations, leading to 4 tragic fatalities. The building, constructed in the early 1990s, was being renovated when it collapsed, trapping workers involved in the project. The incident was also attributed to the use of substandard prefabricated panels. Accidents caused by the use of substandard prefabricated panels as building materials are not uncommon. On May 9th this year, a building in Liuzhou experienced a collapse due to the fracture of a prefabricated panel, trapping and injuring 1 person. On November 23, 2021, a workers' dormitory in Nancheng of Jiangxi Province collapsed because it was constructed with prefabricated panels. The following day, a 6-story brick and concrete prefabricated panel dormitory partially collapsed in the same province. In 2020, the Jushin restaurant in Shanshi's Xiangfen collapsed due to its prefabricated panel construction. During the 2019 Sichuan Changning earthquake, an 18-year-old girl tragically died after being crushed by a prefabricated panel. All these incidents highlight the risks associated with the use of inferior quality prefabricated panels in buildings. Construction experts have analyzed that building collapses can be attributed to several factors, including construction quality, infrastructure issues, and the quality of building materials. Among these, construction quality is a critical factor. If construction processes do not strictly adhere to prescribed standards and procedures, it can lead to unstable building structures, thereby increasing the risk of collapse. Moreover, infrastructure issues such as soil-bearing capacity and foundation settlement can also affect a building's stability. Incidents of collapse have occurred in both old and new buildings, suggesting that poor construction practices, known as tofu-dreg projects, are a widespread problem in China, regardless of the building's age. In addition to substandard prefabricated panels, these tofu-dreg projects often use other materials to cut corners, such as problematic concrete made by skimping on construction materials or using foam boards like EPS foam to substitute for concrete. On and around November 21st, homeowners in the Suhe Bay area of Putuo District, Shanghai, discovered that their luxury homes, priced at 100,000 yuan per square meter, were part of a tofu-dreg project. One of the homeowners, Mr. Zhang, expressed shock upon inspecting the house. Not only was the construction quality poor, with no perfectly straight walls, but the lower floors also had severe water leakage issues, and some interior walls were peeling and cracked. The external aspects of the building were no better. The black window frames and some decorative strips on the walls were made of EPS foam, not standard building materials, and were severely damaged. This situation is especially bitter for the owners who spent millions on these luxury homes, only to find significant problems before even moving in. The prevalence of tofu-dreg projects can be attributed to several reasons. Firstly, their low cost. Materials like prefabricated panels are much cheaper than concrete and steel used in traditional construction. and are easier to install. Secondly, the phenomenon of subcontracting in Chinese construction projects plays a role. Many construction companies that win bids do not execute the projects themselves, but instead subcontract them out, leading to a prevalence of construction companies without actual construction workers. This leads to a special occupation dominated by subcontractors who lack technical knowledge but manage construction projects. Therefore, the appearance of tofu-dreg buildings is not unexpected. The lack of supervision and rampant corruption in the construction sector also contribute to the emergence of inferior buildings. Before winning a bid, companies often have to pay to navigate bureaucratic networks, and these costs are later deducted from the construction budget. As the project gets subcontracted, the budget for actual construction work, including labor and materials, gets progressively smaller, leading to widespread tofu-dreg projects. Ultimately, tofu-dreg projects in China are the result of corruption within the government and collusion between officials and businessmen. The money that should have been spent on safe construction ends up in the pockets of corrupt officials and unscrupulous businessmen. Without resolving corruption, such substandard construction projects will only become more prevalent in the system.